Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Mining Now. I'm your host, Rory Bamford. Today, I am joined by Craig Hoffman. He is the Principal Consultant and Digital Mine Technology Group of Wabtec. Welcome to the show, Craig.
Thanks, Rory. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And we have back, again, a real star of the show now, Dylan McKinnon, Manager Mining Equipment Technology, SMS Equipment. Dylan,
Yeah, great to be back. Yeah.
Great to see you again. So, gentlemen, let's just start off. What are we covering? Today? How do Wabtec and SMS Equipment work together?
Yeah, Wabtec's a premier provider of global proximity detection and collision avoidance technology for the surface mining industry that can supplement existing mine site controls to save people's lives. And SMS has been our channel partner here in Canada and partway through some large mine installations of our technology.
Great. And maybe, Dylan, just maybe a little bit more, how long has this partnership been going?
Yeah, so we've been working with Wabtec now several years. You know, we're hearing from customers here in Canada that they're very interested in moving and deploying proximity detection. And for us, you know, we really didn't have anything to offer in that market. So we really went out, we seeked out who are the leaders in this market, you know, who's really driving forward this space. And it was clear that Wabtec was a standout. You know, they had the leading system there.
Okay.
So we definitely joined up. And since then, you know, we've taken it to market. We've deployed with some major tier 1 mines here in Canada to start introducing that system.
Is collision avoidance, because it's such a, you can't have errors in that for mining with the machines, I would imagine. So is it much more relevant today than it was say 20 years ago?
Yes, it's certainly one of the top contributors to fatalities in the surface mining industry. I think EMOS, the Earth Moving Equipment Safety Roundtable, reported last year that 30 to 40% of the fatalities are due to failures in vehicle interaction controls.
Oh, okay.
And every mining company has a serious focus in zero harm.
Yep.
To make sure that people return home safely to their family and loved ones at the end of every shift.
Yeah, it's crucial. Is it on the immersed? What are the different are there different products under that or different versions of that as well for the safety?
Yeah, EMOST is a global body.
Okay.
Basically, it's the Earth Moving Equipment Safety Roundtable. It's all the major mining companies working with the machine OEMs on working on safety through design.
Okay.
And about 10 years ago, vehicle interactions was identified as a clear global risk. And EMOST has worked with the mining industry. Wabtec's been involved in these vehicle interaction initiatives since the infancy, going back about 10 years ago, where EMOST, the mining companies, are working with technology providers and the machinery OEMs to produce proven frameworks to eliminate vehicle interaction risk.
Okay.
And EMOS has defined a 9-layer defensive model where layers 1 to 7 are the mine site controls with regards to the design of the mine, the procedures, and how technology can be used as reactive controls at what's called level 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
Level 7's about situational awareness, making sure the operator, for example, of a large haul truck is aware of other vehicles and personnel at risk. Then the technology will escalate to level 8, which is advisory control. So the technology will, with a voice alert, will alert the operator with a specific threat and the mitigating response to prevent a collision.
Okay.
And the last line of defence is true collision avoidance, where the technology takes control away from the operator and intervenes. Will actually slow down and stop, for instance, a large haul truck to prevent an accident.
And I guess going from there, actually, that's a good segue for Wabtec's Gen 3 CAS. Is there a big differentiator with that?
Yeah, our Generation 3 product's been a game changer in the industry. That was developed about 4 years ago when a major Tier 1 mining company went to market, chose to partner with Wabtec for a variety of reasons. Our technology was 2 years ahead of any other vendor solution. It was more closely aligned with their functional technical performance requirements for a vehicle interaction control solution.
Going back to you, Dylan, so is it, obviously you have your customers across Canada, are you seeing the same thing, that they want to elevate that level of safety on these massive machines at the operations?
Exactly. That's what's driving it is, really looking at that safety aspect, looking at how we can eliminate metal on metal contact, how we can increase the safety of the mine, how can we eliminate sort of these near misses, and in some unfortunate cases, that those contacts do occur. So how do we bring a solution in, and the right solution, that, we're not just introducing noise to the mine, that we're actually introducing something that people are not going to be over alarmed to, that they're actually going to react to, and it's only going to go off in those situations when there is truly a situation that needs to be, bring an asset to a stop or avoid a situation.
And that's where you said like that level 9, it will actually come in and stop the machine.
Yeah, it's the last line of defence, and I guess Emerst worked with the mining industry to develop a industry standard protocol so the technology providers could communicate directly to the propulsion systems of the OEM machines, like a CAT or a Komatsu haul truck. So that was a major breakthrough to allow these integrated solutions.
And obviously, like AI became a buzzword. Has that helped with the CAS as well?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of applications for artificial intelligence in the collision avoidance space.
Okay.
Even in the back end, the technologies will report into a web-based reporting system, all the high-risk vehicle interactions. There's the ability with AI to look at trends and correlations of data from different sensors to identify the high-risk hotspots on a mine site.
Got it. Okay.
That might be related to mine site design. It's able to identify risky operators that have unsafe driving behaviours. The management can pull aside and train and educate them. So the technology and the data that these systems produce can drive actionable insights to improve safety.
Right. So I guess like at a mine site, if you've got like obviously anywhere there's like potential paths crossing with like, even if you've got like smaller vehicles and like the big haul trucks, that's probably all can be identified with those sensors.
Yeah, so all of those vehicle interactions, whether it's vehicle to vehicle, whether it's a vehicle to pedestrians on the ground, because they're exposed as well around large, heavy mobile equipment, whether it's vehicle to the environment, particularly loss of control scenarios where vehicles may be speeding and will actually lose control, vehicles to infrastructure. So it's quite a comprehensive solution.
Okay.
But it's not the silver bullet. You need to be looking at mature mine site controls at levels 1 to 7, identify the failure modes in those current controls, strengthen them to industry best practice, and then look at how technology can further reduce vehicle interaction risk at levels 7, 8 and 9.
Yeah, just to jump in, I think Craig raises a good point too earlier about, there's the solution that's on the asset that the operators interact with day to day, but the data that comes out of it is also critical. When we first kind of implement these systems and deploy them, there's a lot of learnings for the mine as well, just around identifying bad habits, where those hot spots are. They can even look at, do they need to go back and redesign an intersection because inherently it's introducing, some potential interactions there that the system highlights. So yeah, the data side of it is very critical as well, to be able to make those decisions moving forward on how to best optimize the safety side of those interactions.
And with this AI, how are people also using that on like customizing safety, and are different sites using that? Like, are you seeing them program safety using that as well as a feature with the artificial intelligence too, with like the programs and obviously with those fleets?
Yeah, I guess there's a whole lot of emerging technology using AI smart cameras that can augment our current collision avoidance technology that uses GNSS satellite sensing. The beauty of the smart AI cameras, they can be used to automatically identify high-risk interactions. They can identify specific objects, like a person. You don't have to tag a person with another technology. The camera has the machine vision and the intelligence to detect that's a person or a light vehicle. It can even detect a void or an edge that maybe a dozer is about to sort of roll over.
Okay.
Also, the smart AI cameras can be used for, again, determining whether people are wearing their seatbelts. Can be used to monitor unsafe driving behaviour. They can monitor fatigue. Cameras looking at the face can monitor the level of alertness of an operator, whether an operator's distracted. The technologies can also monitor driver behaviour in terms of harsh braking, harsh cornering, harsh acceleration, whether a machine copped an impact. So there's a lot of other sensing capability that AI-driven smart cameras can actually provide to the overall solution.
With the AI smart cameras, obviously, so when those go out on a machine, you're probably seeing like the operators that have those deployed now. What are they seeing for results? Like how customized are they getting for these operations?
Yeah, well, and I guess that's one of the nice, unique things about these AI vision-based systems is, they can also basically be taught what to detect. So they can train them on whatever you want them to sort of alert to around that vehicle, kind of to that customization piece.
Okay.
But exactly, it's kind of a slightly different solution than the CAS system that we spoke to earlier. That's more a digital asset-to-asset type communication. Whereas with the camera-based systems, it's using that visual reference around it to alert to obstacles or other assets or people on the ground.
Yeah, and I guess the beauty of the AI is it's flexible, it's adaptable. As mining operations change through deep learning algorithms, the cameras can be trained to look for new hazards.
Right.
They can be remotely uploaded, so you don't have to change or upgrade the hardware. Provides that flexibility for smart, flexible sort of enhancements to the algorithms as mining operations sort of progress over time.
Excellent. Yeah, for the level of safety, that is the best thing when it's, like you said, getting people home safely every single day. Could you shed some light on like a case where how a user would start implementing the CAS, like that program as well? You've both probably have some input on that, but like kind of like so the viewers kind of get like the sense of how that implementation takes place.
Well, I guess it's a project in its own right. When you're looking at a mining fleet that might have several hundred vehicles, like haul trucks, dozers, graders, loaders, light vehicles, pedestrians, it's a whole of fleet solution, and that needs to be driven by mine site risk assessment and aligned with industry functional technical performance requirements. So the mine needs to do their baseline assessments, make sure their current controls are mature before they even entertain a technology solution. Once they've decided on a technology solution, then it becomes a whole project in terms of implementation. So a project manager should be appointed. Key stakeholders need to be engaged in the successful delivery of a technology project before, during, and after the project. Change management is a critical function because introducing technology is going to introduce change to the mine site operations. In terms of the operators that are actually using the system, they need to be trained. Installers need to be trained. Maintenance persons need to be maintained. There might be additional resources required to support the technology to make sure it's running at maximum availability to deliver the value that the customer is investing in that CAS for. So it's a whole project right through the initial scoping of machines, the installation of the equipment on the machines. Normally, the system would be each asset as it's installed by the installers would be 100% functionally tested, including connection from the machine to the back-end reporting system. Systems would then run in silent mode, so there's nothing running on the operator screen until the whole fleet's installed. That allows you to collect data from the machine. So the CAS is working behind the scenes. You can monitor the effectiveness of the CAS in the reporting system.
Oh, is it called CAS? Is that what you say? The CAS, so it's CAS.
I guess we call it CAS. I guess the industry has different definitions. Okay. The technology is called proximity detection system, creating improved situational awareness to the operators. The CAS, the collision avoidance part, is that level 9 intervention where the technology is able to intervene to avoid a collision.
And Dylan, just to go back on, like, obviously with the those fleets that SMS equipment that they can provide to those clients. So they're basically the CAS would be implemented or it can be when those go out to a project.
Yeah, so I guess just kind of expanding on what Craig said there about how we deploy the technology. It's exactly that, and that's a big, piece of what SMS brings to the table in this is, Wabtec, they develop the technology. We really then take it to the customer. So we are at the customer's face, working with them on the whole project management plan, the change management plan. Again, that can't understate enough. Sort of when it comes to technology, is having that entire rollout plan well established. But then we also then as well provide that support so the customer can install the hardware. We can collaboratively install the hardware. We can take that on. It's kind of what's the right fit for the mine. And then we would provide a whole team of resources to help with that. So, we come in, we work with their training department to upskill them so they can train their employees. We work with their maintenance department so they can maintain these systems. We work with sort of their information IT departments to integrate everything together. And it's really much managed like a technology project from that standpoint. And then once we go live, again, it's really about owning the technology. And that's a key piece of it is, don't just deploy this thing and walk away and say it's going to, work flawlessly. Like most things, you need a team that's going to champion it. They're going to look at those daily reports. They're going to look for those opportunities. They're going to find equipment that might not be working right. So it's really about managing that whole ecosystem.
So going in, I guess the other thing too is, so you're seeing it from the customers. I mean, you would be seeing it with your partners as well. What do you, if I'm a mining operator, I'm like working on that safety side. What would be top priorities when I'm selecting, like if I'm selecting a fleet from SMS equipment? Obviously you're going to be telling me about what, like the Wabtec technology on that. So what are you finding that is like key areas that people are focused on as well?
I guess from a performance perspective, I mentioned earlier that eMost has quite an extensive body of knowledge that covers functional, technical, and performance requirements for proximity detection and collision avoidance technology that the mining houses can use as when they go to market to determine a suitable vendor in solutions that are going to actually deliver a reduction in vehicle interaction risk. And that's the beauty of the eMost program. It's just not theory. It's actually being proven in practice that when mine sites adopt their control framework methodology and bringing in a technology that's capable on delivering improvements in vehicle interaction risk.
Okay.
And their Gen 3 product compared to our earlier generation, again, has game-changing performance. So very high accuracy sensing, which is critical.
Okay.
In terms of allowing for very close interactions, the ability to curve detection beams. So when vehicles safely interact with each other, you're not generating alarms. And that's one of the big challenges with technology in this space is the ability to differentiate between safe interactions and unsafe interactions.
Okay, so you're measuring both.
So we're measuring both, but you're only alerting the operator through a specific voice alert that highlights the collision risk and the expected response by the operator. And that should only be happening by exception, which would traditionally be around a fatal type scenario.
Okay.
Not alarming every day, thousands of times a day as vehicles safely interact with each other, because that generates alarm fatigue. It'll drive operator tamper and distrust in the system. So very high accuracy sensing is fundamental to the performance of the system. And then what we call a rules engine that basically takes a lot of the context of the vehicle in terms of its direction, its speed, its gearing status, its maybe the payload, even the gradient of the haul road, to basically change the beam structure to only generate alarms when there's a high risk interaction.
And is that all new for the Gen 3 versus the 2?
That's all new capability in Gen 3. And also Gen 3, the actual user interface is designed to industry best practice in terms of human factors design.
Okay.
And in terms of the user interface design from an operator's perspective. And again, that ensures high operator acceptance in the system. So it's a high-performance system. It'll only generate specific alerts when there's a potential fatality scenario, so the operators can trust it and rely on the information that it's providing. And with a specific voice message that conveys the threat and the expected response, the operator can respond very quickly.
So it's literally coming through the cab if something's come up.
It's coming through the cab through specific voice messaging that says you're tailgating, slow down. The intersection's occupied if you're a light vehicle approaching, because the haul truck has priority. There's a wet road ahead that potentially...
Oh, right. So the light trucks have it as well. Everything.
All the heavy mobile equipment, all the light vehicles are running with the CAS.
Right.
They're looking at predictive path analysis of where vehicles are potentially on a collision path.
Yeah.
And then the system starts generating those escalating alerts to the operator.
And I think that's a good point you brought up that we didn't touch on as well, is that, it's not just, let's call it the offending vehicle that gets an alert. It's the other vehicle that's involved in that interaction.
Yeah, that's important.
So they're both aware of what's happening around them. And going back to the rules engine, I think that's another key point to touch on as well is that is a configurable rules engine. So we
Oh,
understand
okay.
that, mines do have different practices on site. Each
Yep.
mine is slightly unique in how they need to operate. So we can actually go in and actually optimize those rules engines and how those vehicles need to interact
Oh, I see.
to do that reduction of nuisance alarms where, there's an alarm going off, but there shouldn't be because this is still a safe scenario.
Because even like just like an easy example for people watching, like some certain mines, like probably each mine has a different speed limit, so that's going to affect different like the data pulling, I would imagine, right?
Exactly that. Yeah.
And we can do that through Geofences, which is the mine-specific sort of customization of our core collision avoidance algorithms.
Okay.
So through Geofences, we can enforce speed zones.
Yep.
We can alert when there's T intersections that are occupied by a haul truck that has priority when a light vehicle approaches. We can use Geofences to determine when the road's wet, when a water cart's spraying for dust control to alert an approaching heavy vehicle there's a wet road ahead.
Oh,
That traditionally has created sort of unsafe scenarios.
okay.
We can alert vehicles when they're about to go into a no-go zone, when there's a stop sign ahead. So a lot of the site-specific traffic management plan and separation rules can be enforced through Geofences.
Is a lot of this big for open pit, or is it being used now for underground too?
Well, Wabtec's traditionally been in the surface proximity detection space. We're one of the industry pioneers going back 20 years. We're on our third generation product today.
Yeah.
But these technologies are being deployed underground as well.
Interesting.
And that's a space we're moving into.
I guess too, like obviously with Wabtec and SMS equipment being on this episode, the let's go in a little bit more too, and like just the partnership overall. Like you've already said about customizing for each mine site. So I guess if you could both elaborate a little bit more too on how SMS is now supporting that implementation across Canada.
I guess, first thing is we're well supported from the Wabtec team supporting SMS.
Mm-hmm.
And then really our role in this, is we are that sort of that customer facing role. So we're taking their technology and their expertise that are embedded right in our team. We have individuals from Wabtec supporting us, and it's that team that's going to the mine and actually deploying the technology. So really our role in this is, to be that interface with the customer, to deploy the technology, to support the technology, to really be that sort of that owner with the mine operator to drive the success of the overall solution.
Yeah. With CAS again, what are you seeing on like Canadian and global like pushes for adoption on that? Is it becoming a big push? Are you seeing it? Let's talk like specifically Canada for this. Is that
definitely speak to Canada, and then I think Craig definitely has some global insights. But throughout Canada here, I'd say that it's very sort of early in implementation versus some other areas globally, but we're definitely starting to see a rise in interest and sites that are actually going forward and deploying the technology. And I think a big part of that as well is the technology has gotten to a point now through a lot of the features we touched on around, there's not a lot of nuisance alarms, that it's a very trustworthy system and that the operators are buying into it and really using the system.
The only country that's legislated this technology is South Africa.
okay?
They sort of announced to the industry about 4 years ago that proximity detection technology needs to be integrated into their surface and underground operations. And 2 years ago, they mandated level 9 intervention controls. So that's the only country I'm aware of globally that's actually basically legislated the application of this technology. Other countries, I guess, haven't legislated. Certainly Australia, from where I am based, isn't talking about legislation. It's all about educating the mining industry in the EMERST and ICMM sort of frameworks to make sure the mine site controls are effective, addressing the failure modes, and then the successful application of technology at those levels 7, 8, and 9 to further mitigate the risks. So technology is never the silver bullet solution, and you need to look at the existing mine site controls. That's absolutely fundamental. And there have been companies globally that have admitted in recent times that they went straight for a technology solution and were quite regretful in doing that, and now back basically looking at the fundamentals, looking at their baseline controls, and then looking at how technology can be applied to that to further reduce vehicle interaction risk.
Dylan, do you have anything to add, like from what you're seeing in Canada with that aspect, like on the compliant, not necessarily compliance side, but because safety's so been talked about and so important now. What are you seeing from your clients in that regards?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of those global trends start to come to Canada as well. We don't see, there's no legislation today
No.
demanding that this type of system. But what we're seeing is that the system maturity is there, that the customers are seeing this as a viable solution they can implement. And really, I think it's about, being able to drive forward that safety aspect with that trust piece that goes along with it with the operators.
Let's say I'm at a mine and I've got a fleet. I've got like light and heavy duty vehicles. What's the starting process if I don't have any of this? Like, can I start making the switch? Like, how do I go about doing that?
Well, I think initially it's an education program. As I mentioned earlier, eMerst has been working with the global mining industry, with the miners, with the OEM manufacturers,
Yep.
with the technology providers for the last 8 to 10 years, and have developed this quite comprehensive body of knowledge that any other mining company can gain access to in terms of the materials, the case studies, even project management methodologies, work breakdown structures, how to assess your existing sort of baseline controls, how to go to market and review and select a capable PDS technology that's been proven to reduce vehicle interaction risks. So really it starts with an education first, and I guess referring to newcomers to the eMerst body of material, and then taking it from there. And it's a journey. As the mine works through their journey on improving their current controls and how technology can further mitigate vehicle interaction risks to achieve their zero harm objectives.
That education piece is key to kind of set that foundation.
Yeah.
And that's where that's such a great body of work, because, if you're interested in this, you can go and you can start to look at, those controls you've implemented today, kind of that 1 through 7. How do you kind of stack up in that space? And is there additional work that we need to do there before we just look at adding technology? That we need to get that foundational piece right, and then we can look at moving forward and introducing the technology side of it as well.
Okay, so you'll actually, from what it sounds like, you can help them evaluate what's happening at their project or at their mine site, of course, and kind of like start building up, like kind of layering up, like how they can get to achieving like this level of CAS.
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess that there's the education piece, and then it starts with a conversation. So an interest in the product, and we can come in and we can work with you on understanding the MCERT, and then also looking at where you're at today and what this technology and a deployment would mean for you. And then if we move forward, it's obviously then looking at what does that whole project management plan look like, and going through the development plan well before we ever install gear on a piece of equipment, to ensure that we're getting those fundamentals right.
Yeah, and obviously, so your homeland is still Australia, correct? So I'm assuming, like for Canada, they're going to talk to you, but then Wabtec's going to get involved when needed on like the technology side and like the safety implementation. Is that correct for like a starting point for anybody that's interested?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, so we're very much a partner with Wabtec. So generally, we're that first connection with the customer. We'll go through the technology with them. There's some very specific questions. We'll work with Wabtec. We'll bring them in. We'll walk through certain scenarios or answer specific questions.
Yeah.
And then collaboratively, we'll work with Wabtec and the customer to move forward and actually deploy that technology and support it.
Okay. In closing, thank you both for giving me a massive education on it first, and I'm sure for the viewers as well. In closing, any final thoughts that if for anything we maybe didn't cover that we should make sure that the viewers know?
No, I think this is a very exciting space, and to the credit of eMerst and the mining industry working together as a collective, where you're bringing very competitive machine manufacturers and technology providers together, putting all those competitive interests aside, and working on eliminating vehicle interaction risk. And there's been great work done that the global mining industry can benefit from, about saving people's lives, allowing mining companies to achieve their zero harm objectives, where everybody goes home safe every day.
Excellent. Anything back on your end, Dylan?
I think it's exactly that. And, driving home at the end of the day, this is an agnostic solution. So you can put this on whatever piece of iron you have. So it's very much you can deploy it across your fleet, regardless of OEM or where it came from. And I think that's key at the end of the day to be able to
Yeah.
work with whatever's out there to make the mine ultimately that much safer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Dylan, Craig, thank you so much for joining. Thank you everybody for watching Mining Now. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn. We will have the links for Wabtec, for SMS equipment, of course, and LinkedIn's, all that good stuff in the description. Get a hold of them. Obviously, talk to SMS equipment if you are interested in building on the safety at your operation. And thank you for watching. Until next time.